Passion, flavors, and deep sense of community. Those are the threads that tie together the world of hospitality and spirits. But what does it take to transition from a chef to product manager, bringing the gap between creators and consumers, all while keeping the spark alive? Joining us today is Max Scott, originally from Sweden, but a proud Copenhagen resident for over 13 years. With a background as a chef and a passion for hospitality, Max has transitioned into the spirits world and now thriving as a product manager at Jules. His journey began in the kitchen, but his curiosity and adaptability led him to explore new paths, first in the wine business and then in the spirits. From training sommeliers to managing a diverse portfolio of brands, Max brings a unique insights into trends shaping the industry and challenges it faces. Welcome, Max. Thank you so much for accepting my invitation to this podcast, and happy to have you here. Can you give us and the listeners a super short introduction about yourself, and then we will gonna cover what I discovered about you. And
all right. So my name is Max Scott. I'm originally from Sweden. I've been living in Copenhagen for 13 years, working with spirits, working for a company called Jules, and I've been working for them for 13 years, and I'm the product manager of that company. Besides that, I'm living here on Amma, so in my little island with my family and 2 kids.
Nice. So you started your journey as a chef in this industry. Not many people might know about it, but you are coming from the culinary industry, culinary background. How did you end up in the spirits world? Because there was a transition of couple of places in between.
It's a quite long story, but everything started with my aunt that met this rock chef in the 80s, and they wanted to build a restaurant, so they bought like an old can fabric outside Gothenburg. Mm-hmm. And they opened a restaurant, and he was a chef and a musician, so they was getting like a lot of like local music from around Scandinavia, this is like 80s, mid 80s, and everybody went to this place, and in the back they had a small ice cream shop because it was like very close to the beach, and I started working there when I was 5 years old, because I got nothing else better to do. So it always I started working with ice cream, to be honest. That's just like, and then there was a kitchen involved, and
okay. So you started when you were literally 5 years old,
yeah.
And then continue with this career. Did you always knew that you wanted to stay in the industry, or it just happened?
I think so I'm born in a family with a lot of kids, and I was the oldest one, so I needed something to do, I guess, and I was not working really hard when I was 5 years old, but it was connected to the kitchen, so I remember since a very young age I was always looking into the kitchen and watching these superstars. You know, the chefs for me was like Michael Jordan's, mm-hmm. You know, Messi, so, you know, they were so cool. Everybody loves them. They knew how to do everything. All the waitresses thought they was the most sexiest guys on the planet, and they talk like superstars and act like superstars, and I just want to be a chef. So that was almost my dream, my entire youth, to be a chef.
Mm-hmm. So you started as a chef, and then you transitioned slowly to the more of a management position, and then as a brand manager to Jules. How was it, that transition from you coming from the kitchen or culinary to go into more of a corporate or whatever style of job?
I think most like transition is in your life is coming naturally, or it should come naturally if it's and for me it's always been about to finding a spot where I can have some space, mm-hmm. And that's again from being a kid, what can I do? Can I sell some ice cream? Okay, what can I help the kitchen? Okay, I'm gonna take care of the onions. Okay, I'm gonna be the onion kid. Mm-hmm. For a summer or something like that, or and then when you develop in your life, then you find a new spot. Maybe also you can find that you are maybe not that good at something. Mm-hmm. I figured out that I was maybe not the best chef, I was not the chef that I wanted to be. So so then I had to find another way, right? I can see the end of the road. Like I could work in I've been working in Michelin star restaurants, but I couldn't be the Michelin chef. Mm-hmm. I didn't have it. I didn't have what it takes to be, René Recipe. So then I felt like, okay, maybe I'm not going to be like all my heroes, like all my mentors. So if I'm not going to be like them, if I'm not going to be that guy who runs the 100 meters race or whatever and win that gold medal, maybe I should do something else. And always trying to find another way. So then I found a way for the wine business. And then from that, I found into the spirit business, and I don't know. Like sometimes it's like small roads your life, right? And then sometimes you choose to take the right or the left. But I always been taking the ones like the turns when I felt like I can give something here. Like my work will matter, and because I think that's like to feel good. I love to work and always been working. And if you can spend so much time with your work, it should be something that you feel that is fun, right?
Mm-hmm. And how do you know when is it enough? Like how do you know when you need to take that turn into the life, into the roads?
I don't know. I think life puts you on that road itself, right? For me, been a lot of different things, but. I had a really troubled youth, so I needed to go to culinary institute and get away from the area where I'm from, so I don't get stuck in stupid shit. So that was like a very clear thing. And when I moved into spirit or started working with spirits, a little bit more than 20 years ago, I just tried something that just was so fantastic. So like I just need to work with this, like the flavors. But I don't think there's any difference between what I'm doing today compared to what I did in the beginning. Like it's still about flavors. It's still about, curiosity, and people, hospitality.
Mm-hmm. How is it to be a brand manager? Because many of us, we referred as a brand manager to people, but how does a day of your life looks like when you are working as a brand manager with that many brands as you have in the portfolio?
Yeah, I don't think it's like this thing with titles. People loves to pick people in different boxes and what is a title. Like I think my position is more as like a product manager. So I'm working with producers. But I work with the same kind of people that, they are producers making, say, whiskeys or cognacs or mezcals or whatever it be. But they are like a little bit like the same people when I work in the restaurant that came, delivering the local like farmer that come with his carrots, or the guy who was delivering fish. They're just producing other stuff or harvesting other stuff. So it's about building relations, and always be curious. Like never stop to be curious about who they are and what they're making and what's going to happen and what to come. But of course it's different. Like it's not a physical job as it other things are. There's a lot of computers and looking at screens and have like online meetings and stuff like that, which is quite boring. It's much nicer to talk to people in real life. But I feel like it's a little bit the same. I think I don't see it's a big difference. Like some like the guy who delivering like dirty carrots to your restaurant looks maybe different compared to the super fancy cognac bottles for 150,000. But they're both farmers, and the mentality is sometimes the same.
So you are working a lot with the producers, and then the way that I see you personally, because for our listeners, we know each other from before. Yeah. I see you more like a bridge between the whole hospitality professionals, bartenders, chefs, and so on, and then the producers. And you are that one linchpin that help us to communicate together. And
yes, of course. Like, but again, like it's just working with different people with a lot of passion, like people that are passionate of producing something, to people that are passionate about hospitality and creating flavors. So, and I've been working with both before, so I don't think I don't see that there's a bridge. I'm just walking back and forth, you know. It's more about like I'm just passing by a message, so it doesn't feel like it's building a bridge, because you know each other already. Like if you work with flavors and understand flavors, it's obvious. Like all these things are obvious. Like of course you understand this guy who makes agave spirits and been waiting for plants to grow for 80 years, and then he harvests it, and all this process. Like if you understand, and then the end product is good, of course. But if you understand that all that hard work, and you've been doing all the hard work in a bar or a restaurant, like it's all makes sense. It's all about passion. I think that's like what all drives us.
We had a very interesting conversation right before starting this recording about the old industry and the new industry, how it changed and how people started to perceive more the relationships and the products, how it used to be. You brought the example with the BCB. Can we elaborate a bit more on that one?
I mean, it changed a lot. I think if you took like a chef from when I started in the late 80s to the future, like in the time machine, they will be shocked. It's going to be like one of the science fiction movies, because like it was very, very different, and the trade was very, very different before. But to the good, I think it's good. I think good that people take care of themselves, and because nowadays when you go to like a fair like BCB, or people could go to Athens in November, they're gonna be talks about like your well-being, like how to take care of yourself, like what can I do with my career and so on. Like when I started with working with cocktail bars, it was all about the product itself. And people that was talking about health, to be honest, like when I was starting hospitality, nobody took care of themselves. No, like I never, in the beginning, there were nobody training. There were nobody not smoking or not drinking every day or not taking drugs every day. Like that was like, it was a different thing. But I'm really happy. I'm really happy that like everybody's not like fucked up.
So it started to change in a good.
Yeah, of course, right now it's a trend to talk about like careers and health and so on. That will be obvious in a couple of years, and we'll talk about something else, I guess. But that's a trend, and I think it's a good trend that people think about this, and people are, if you go to restaurants and bars nowadays, like everybody's running and training and take care of themselves. I think it's good.
Nice. So, what other trends? Because you've been in the industry for long. What other trends have you seen through the past years? That's one thing that I was always curious about. Like, what major trends right now? Let's say we have this lifestyle, this career focus. What other trends were in the past?
In the past, they're all like a lot of strange trends that comes in and out. It was always like old-fashioned trend and heavy booze trend that was quite interesting when people get very intoxicated very, very fast. And like all the industry events are very, very short. Trends comes and go, and I think there's some global trends that we like to chat about, but they will never happen here. Denmark is a very small market, and we like to jump on all new things that are happening. But to be honest, like our market is not big enough for it. But definitely, like the low-no trend have been big, and will be becoming bigger, I guess. I think it's just the beginning for. If we talk about bartending, it's definitely going to be in the beginning of the low-no ABV drinks. I think that will continue.
Nice.
And we can talk about flavors maybe instead of talking about alcohol. Like
Yep.
Like I'm working with alcohol, I'm working with ethanol, which is a poison, like everybody knows. But maybe we shouldn't talk about the ABVs. Maybe we should talk about the flavors and how it's made instead of looking to if it's 14 or 8 or 9 or 0. Like, do it taste good? Do you like it? Do you appreciate it? I think that's more important than its cost strength or super boozy or not.
Do you see any changes into the bartender's mentality when it comes to flavors? You're doing a lot of masterclasses or bringing a lot of producers that are talking about this. Do you see a difference into questions that the bartenders put when they have a masterclass towards this flavor?
I definitely think like for us in Denmark, it's been helping out a lot with the gastronomy trends, with all these top restaurants, what they've been doing. But I still think there's a lot of. Sometimes it feels like the whole like drinks industry is going in a fantastic direction. But then you go back and look at what's like the bottom line is. Because we can always talk that we have 3 Michelin restaurants that are making fantastic food, and we can have some super good bars that we want to go to, and we have top 50 or 100 or whatever, top whatever you like to put them in. But they live their life on their own. But if we look into like the general consumption, I was passing by a bar just like before coming in here, and like that's the same stuff that was on the shelves 20 years ago. Nothing really happens there. So I think the drink industry have lot of things to work with. Like the mega top premium industry is definitely like they're up in the sky together with the stars and creating a lot of really interesting things. But I think for like normal consumers or like people that is not in the industry or don't have like are super nerdy about it, they still have a lot of possibilities to try different things. And I think like the battle is not for me. For my sake, like I would love to see bars, if they're in a restaurant or just bars itself, to be as to work with flavors in the same way as the kitchen. That will be when that's gonna happen. I think I can retire and I can go to bed, because that will be the final thing when you don't talk about brands or you're not talking about deals or money. You're talking about flavors itself and. Yeah, and then that doesn't matter what kind of product it is. It's more about, is it good or not?
Yeah, we had a chef the other day in here, and he said that more and more he can see that the gastronomy and mixology started to merge together, at least in Denmark, for us in the Nordics and here. How do you see it from your own perspective, from your own position? Do you see it happening more and more, or is just that one particular case?
No, but I do think there's like all the really good bars that we know and we talk about, and there's a lot of them. But I still think, you know, I'm not working professionally as a chef anymore, but I was very proud to be a chef when I was a chef, and I would never have a product in my kitchen that I got paid for or was put in a deal with, you know, the restaurant, whatever. That would never happen. Sometimes we will do a collaboration with somebody, you know, a famous, I don't know, caviar producer or something like that. Maybe that we can do an event around that, but we would never put anything on a menu because of money or, you know, because that thing was known. Maybe you will tell that, you know, this vegetables or this fish or this meat is from this area, or we're working with this farm. But that farm would never pay money to the restaurant to be a part of the menu. and the case of bars, there was a very interesting article that came out a couple of days ago about big brands and how they work with top 50 cocktail bars. And I don't think a good cocktail bar should have same things that you can find in a gas station. That's my belief. I don't say that the stuff in gas station are bad, but as a consumer, you can't, like, it's impossible to pay something that you can get in a supermarket. Like it can't be in the same place. So I still think there's a lot of work to do there and to bring more interesting products. But the spirit industry is big money, it's big business, and that's what it is.
How open are the bartenders? We are not talking about the owners, bar owners, or how open are the new generations of bartenders to try new stuff, like to try smaller local.
They're extremely open. I think they're extremely open and super geeky. And I met some young bartenders this Sunday, and you know, they had questions about everything. Like they were like, oh, what is this? Like, okay, but vermouth, what do you put in this? Why do it taste like this? Like there was questions about everything. So they're super curious.
Do you see more new bartenders coming to the industry after the COVID, post-COVID?
Definitely. Like it wasn't that bad in Denmark that it was in other markets. We also have to remember that Denmark is a very, very rich country. So we had bars that, like, almost all the bars survived for the first. Restaurants survived. And there was money, there was still investments. And of course, there was hard time. Like, a lot of the bar owners that I work with and know and visit, they're my best friends. That's the people that I hang out with, and you know, they come and have grill and barbecue in my home, and we hang out with our kids and so on. So of course they had a hard time, but compared to other countries, no. And I think the lifestyle in Denmark is very, very high compared to a lot of other places. So you can make a decent salary. You don't have to work 7 days a week, and if you can find a good place to stay, it's a good place to live. Like I live around the world, and when you're young, it's not that easy, and you stay in a flat with 15 other blokes, and you work 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you don't make any money. That's normally like the reality of working in hospitality. I don't think people doesn't work in hospitality to be rich. You know, it's the passion again. Like that's what drives us, and that's why we're in all this.
Was it any moment when you said, okay, I had enough of this hospitality, I want to change the industry?
To work with hospitality
drop hospitality completely and then go to another industry. And what was the thought? Which industry do you believe you could fit in?
I don't know. I always loved the hospitality industry, but I think it's just about to find something else that you fall in love with. But it have to be something that is driven by passion. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it. But I don't know what that would be. But like, if I need to change, I will change. Like, I'm a worker and I'm a survivor. So like, if it's I don't have any any needs of like. But I don't know what industry that could be. Farming maybe, like
farming.
Farming is like, yeah, working with, like, yeah, that would be cool.
So still somehow using the old knowledge that you had in the hospitality and
I think it's probably always going to be a link, and I don't think I can be like working with something that completely different. I think after a while you also figure out what drives you and what could be interesting. But I'm probably going to work with something that is linked to hospitality or production or flavors or so on.
Yeah, because I mean your background and your everything that you do for the industry is quite impressive. You also been part of the Bartender Choice Awards multiple times, and you've been nominated and won multiple years in a row. How do you see the community growing, and how do you see the community working together compared to other countries?
I think like when I started here like 13 years ago, I used to work for the monopoly system in Sweden. I was a purchaser. I was taking care of some bigger stores in Sweden, and I got fed up. I went to the place where I used to buy my whiskeys from my collection, which was Jules, which I work for now. And I found a lot of bottles that I didn't know what to do with them. A lot of, like, say, liqueurs or agave spirits and things that you don't sip maybe directly, or like I came from at that time more like the whiskey world. And I had some friends that just moved from London, from bars over there. And they were a little bit like the first movers, together with Kirsten and Peter, and then there was this like bunch of guys from mainly from Sweden, but also from Spain and so on. And they came over, and I was testing the stuff that I didn't understood that we had in the store. Was this crème de poire? Like, what do you do with this? I drink it, it's very sweet. I don't like the sweetness. Should I make a dessert with it? No, you can make this drink. Oh, cool. And then easily I understood it was a community, but the community was there because with expats. Even I'm not that far away from here. I was still an expat, so didn't have family or friends or all that kind. So you build a community. And I think that family community is still there after I've been there for 15 years now, right? So I still think there's this quite unique family industry in Copenhagen, but it's based on the expats. And again, what do you do when you don't have any friends or any girlfriends or partners or family and things that you have to spend time with, and you don't want to just hang out in the bar or restaurant that you work all the time. Maybe you want to see what's outside, that space, and that always been very helpful. And we had the Copenhagen Cocktail Club that I was very happy to be a part of, and maybe we get a little bit too old to be super active, but we were extremely active 10 years ago, and now it's just still there as a small community. And during the pandemic, we were very political. We do demonstrations and stuff and stuff. There was it's still love for this, this lifestyle. And I see people that coming into Copenhagen now, they get involved and it's not the same groups that I hang up with, because I'm 30 years, that's 20 years too old maybe, but it's still a community, and I think I still hope that people that are coming to Copenhagen feels yes, I can come here and I can get a career and I get a life. If I want to stay here or not in the future, that's up to them. But they can feel that there is a family thing going on, and there's an openness, and you can go to different events or tastings or whatever, and it's open for everyone. It's a free stores, and after a while you figure out, okay, I like to hang out with them, and then you find new best friends, and then you maybe move back to where you're from or to new destination, but you're still going to have those connections. So I really hope that many years from now, when we can look back and we can meet all these people that have been involved in the trade.
No, absolutely. Because, for instance, the community is one thing that drove my passion as well. As soon as I came to Copenhagen, I came from Romania to here, And as soon as I started coming to the events that were posted in the group, in the community, it was much easier from an outsider perspective, and it was much easier to enter in the whole industry, the community basically, not the industry, and then meet great people like you, which actually I have to thank you for that because you were one of the ones organizing and among the others, but it just drove my passion as well more and more and more to create and develop within the industry. And then what would you say would be other ways to, apart from the CCC group that we have, what would you say from your experience would be another great way of entering into a new industry? Let's take Copenhagen out of the equation.
Yeah.
When you are going to a new country, how would you say going in?
I think it's depending where you're in your life, but if you take it from the perspective like that, you're young and you're coming to a country and you don't know anyone and maybe it's another language, even though you can speak English, but there's still another language involved, and like I've been in that situation myself when I was like a teenager and you going somewhere alone, and it's a scary situation, right? So like I've always been thinking about, when I meet new people, like when I met you the first time, like it's very important to welcome people, so you can feel like, oh, maybe it's not that bad. Maybe people are nice here. But I guess it you have to be curious and to find, maybe your safe spots, like. If you're working in the hospitality industry, and I don't know, Barcelona, maybe go to some other like things that it's about the hospitality industry and learn from there. Otherwise, like then you have to go through your hobbies. Like, what do you like to do in your spare time? Is that like some sport activities or whatever, and try to get that way to get into some kind of community, because. It's always tricky, and the worst thing that can happen is that when you don't feel like it's working, and you don't feel that you belong somewhere, and then you don't want to be there, right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I think it's very important when you get somewhere, and like if you want to be there and work and have a good life, you need to find that connection with the place you're staying.
How important do you see these major events as well, like BCB, Athens Bar Show, for the career in a young bartender, let's say like that? How important are they in the beginning or in the middle of the career?
It depends what, like, yeah, how ambitious you are, I guess. Because like most people that went to BCB, me included, just went there and get fucked up for a couple of days and was consuming too much alcohol and had good fun. And I don't think that's maybe going to give you that much, to be honest. But they're like today they're super ambitious people, and they, if they have an agenda with the trip, it could give a lot, and like everybody's there. So if you play your cards well, maybe you can end up somewhere good. But I like, from my point of view, it's always like you have to find your link in. So what can I do? Well, I'm not very good at this or that, but maybe I can do this. Maybe there's a reason for me to get in there and find my spot. So yeah, but it's like it became very, very big.
I have one more question, which is a follow-up of what you said, going to these kind of events and drinking too much. If you want to answer to this, because it's a sensible topic within our industry, the alcohol consumption. How do you stay away? Not you personal, Max, but how do you end up when you are a bartender, when you are a chef, when you are a waiter, not going to that pitfall? Because you have the alcohol available, widely available for you.
It's a little bit of taboo, I guess, talking about like, but I think as my perspective is like, there's drugs, and alcohol is a drug. Ethanol is a poison. So like we have to clear that out first, like before like we and that this is my passion in life. This is something that I love highly and spend most of my money on. I've been doing so for way too long. But I need to be aware of the danger of the situation. I remember I was taking care of I had like this romantic idea many years ago. I was taking care of. I was moving back to the areas where I'm from in Sweden, and say like it was like there was a lot of social problems there, and they was building this monopoly store, which in the area that had most social problems in Sweden at that time. And I thought it was like I'm gonna go there and like I'm gonna talk about wines to the people, to the working class, or like people that was living on the edge. And of course, they didn't care about talking about wine. And when you have a place where all the consumption, like a monopoly is, where you have all the people in the local area have to go there, then you really see how big the problem actually can be with alcohol. And every morning when you open your store at 9, and you have like hundreds of people like dragging in, and then they're like zombies, and just getting that bottle, and they got to shake, and you can see what alcohol really is, because it is a very, very powerful drug. There's very few other drugs that is legal that's as powerful as ethanol. So I've always been been very and if you look into my consumption throughout my year, I've been drinking way too much compared to normal people. I'm very aware of that. But it's also why you're drinking, when do you drink, and you need to understand and have respect for this. It's like cutting with a knife, you know. Like you cut it properly. You don't cut your fucking hands off, and that's the same thing. Like you have to be careful about alcohol. You can't drink all the time because it will not be good for you. So, but I know it's been like a taboo, because talking about and then can you tell people that they are drinking too much? But you know, alcoholism is like it's a sickness, and people, you get it when you drink too much.
Yep. And also, I believe actually there is also a controversial situation about non-alcoholics, which maybe you might have a lot more insights than I do, because most of the people associate the non-alcoholics with healthy, which not all the time is the case.
No, but isn't that like the problem that we, like, humanity is like doing all the time, that we're making things a little bit too complicated. That is like you have to, and I really like the idea that you include people in a social gathering. So if we're gonna go to the bar, that is we just passed by before, and I want to have a non-alcoholic drink, and you want to have a drink with alcohol, maybe it's nice that I get a drink that is well made as well, and looks nice, and I feel like we can enjoy the time together, even though that I'm taking the decision to not drink alcohol, not to get a Diet Coke or a mango juice with some grenadine on top and look like an idiot. But a lot of like non-alcoholic products that are made today are not made very sustainable. Like there's no sustainability. There's no reason why they are made that way. But you can create non-alcoholic alternatives very easily.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, like you can go down and pick up some apples and press them, and you're gonna get a beverage that is probably much better than 99.9% of all the alcoholic beverages in the world. Because apples taste very, very good in this season. Yeah. So I think sometimes we're making a little bit we're making it too complicated. That people that take the decision to not eat meat, well, then you can eat vegetables. They taste really, really good. You don't have to create something that is not natural. And I think the non-alcoholic industry is getting that way. Like adding too much processes and so on. Alcohol at itself is very good to carry flavors, but then it doesn't need to be that all the time. You have to create the flavor with alcohol and then take away the alcohol and the flavor.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense at all. But you can create flavors without alcohol, and I think that's something that should be on every cocktail menu nowadays, and most they are, and it's going to be the same thing as you go into a restaurant and you ask for a dish without meat, because some people choose to not eat meat. And,
Yep.
And I'm fine with that, and I'm fine with people not drinking alcohol.
No, I completely agree on your side when you say sometimes we are overcomplicated or sometimes, but it was more like, okay, not all of the non-alcoholics are healthy. That was my belief, because I met some people that most of them, they say, okay, if we are drinking non-alcoholic, we are more healthy or more sustainable. And as you touched based and said, okay, not all of them are made in a sustainable way.
No.
Not all of the non-alcoholic beverages are healthy technically, so it's I believe it will go a bit more into the same way of the alcohol, where you have good products and you have products that are not meeting the same criteria, the same requirements.
But like as soon as the consumer doesn't question what they're consuming, they will buy it. And if it's easier to buy a non-alcoholic beverage with a lot of stupid additives that you don't need, that is not good for your body, but there's no alcohol, it's I think alcohol is a poison, but you don't die of drinking alcohol directly. Like it's not direct poison for you, and you don't have to always have extremely high alcohol in a drink. So I think it's more about like the consumer, questioning what they're actually consuming, because as you said, it is a lot of really bad products out there in this, because they know it's a market, it's a margin, people can make money. Otherwise, they wouldn't exist, right?
Yep. How oh shit. The question and my brain that just shut it down.
How do you choose brands? That would be a cool question.
You can pick another question.
Damn it. How okay, I'll let you finish drinking. How do you choose brands when you are trying to expand your portfolio within the company, or how do you find them?
You find them through like different kind of connections, things that pops up. I had in a short while I really had this idea to we pick things that we think is good commercialized, because that's what we do. We even though that you can think that you're some kind of, you do something better than you're actually doing. I'm doing logistics. I'm buying a product and sell it to somebody, and then so maybe that is what I'm actually doing. And for a while I had this idea to finding stuff that is more, what can work for the markets, what can we make profit out of, or what we believe is going to be a cool and hype thing. A lot of those brands doesn't exist today. And I think I pick stuff today, being a little bit more wise, I guess. I pick things with my what I think tastes good, most important. And secondary is the people behind it. And those two things are very, very easy. You try something. If it's good or bad, do you like this? Is interesting, and then you meet the people behind it, and if the liquid is good but the people are bad, it's not going to work. And then the third thing is okay, is this a market for this? If I buy it, will anybody buy it from me? I guess so. I had a discussion today and with the brand, and I really like the product. I love the guy behind it, and do I believe I can sell it? Maybe, but let's do it. Let's try, because the liquid is so good, and the guy behind this is great, and so then let's see. So sometimes it's not maybe the most like business-minded, the wisest decision, but I rather follow my heart and my taste buds than, you know, the Excel sheet and see how big my margins can do and how big is growing on different markets. Because all that data we can figure out to like, put in the presentation, and you can sell all products like that. But I do feel like if it doesn't taste great, and if it's not like good people behind it, you're not able to like I can't convince you to buy it.
Yep. How can you train your taste buds as well? Because that's a question that probably some of the bartenders will say, okay, I'm still going to tastings, but I don't believe my palate's trained enough compared to your palate. How would you say it will gonna be a good way?
It's training. Like I wouldn't say my taste buds now is not that great, to be honest. I've been sick for a while, but it's not because of that. But I haven't been tasting that much. But when you taste all the time, and also like I've been training a lot of the sommeliers that are doing Danish, European, Nordic, and World Championship, and I've been honored to work with some of the ones that have been winning the best sommeliers in the world, and the top positions the last 10 years. So we made like a training program for spirits. So that's one part of what they're gonna taste. This is our extremely professionals that are tasting all the time. And it's about like you building up a flavor library, and a lot of things in your library you remember. It's like books that you read 10 years ago. Maybe you remember a book, but like, oh, how did it end actually? And you maybe have to go back and read that book. So it's all about like building a library and figure out things, and then you maybe go deeper into blind tastings. And blind tastings is to find, you know, something that you can recognize, and then you take the left turn, and then when you're on the left turn, you have to choose again, and then after a while you can figure out where you are. So it's like, but it's all about training. Like that, like as soon as you stop train and taste, then it goes back again, and then. But I think it's a little bit like learning how to bike your first time, like, and then you can be like a lousy biker, but you can still, transport yourself. And
are there any programs in here? You said you are working with sommeliers. Are there any programs that bartenders and chefs can access? Active programs.
I took my education like in 2002, so a while ago. It was different then what was now, but I think from my point of view, working with different in businesses, working with chefs and sommeliers and bartenders and people that work in the drinks industry, I still think VCT is the ones that is like, because it's used worldwide, and with all respect, with different sommelier like trainings you can do and wine programs. When you travel abroad, you need something that people can recognize. And if I had an education that I'm a sommelier from Copenhagen by, you know, the Amar Wine Society, like somebody in Berlin will like, what the fuck is this, like that. But when you get the VCT, you get something, and it's like a platform, and if it's the best, I don't know. But I think it's important with the education and have something especially for a lot of people in the hospitality business that doesn't have an education. Maybe they just went directly to hospitality and been working super hard and they know so much, but they doesn't have it on paper. And to have it on paper when you have to do, if you're going to change to do something else, to have an education, say, well, I haven't just been working in the kitchen for 15 years. I also did an education in this or that, and then that can also help you to find other things to do in life.
If you want to become an importer, do you need to have a course? Do you need to have a WSET course?
No.
Okay. It's more like a curiosity, because I found some articles on the internet that says some of them say you need it, some of them you don't. So you don't know exactly which one is true, which one is not.
Like in Denmark, you don't have to do anything. You have to pay your taxes. That's the thing here. And they also make like bonded warehouse rules much easier. So it's quite easy to be an importer nowadays. So it's not like, but I guess it's like you need to have some need some types of money. So you can buy it and store it, and then you have to pay your taxes. That's the main thing. Like in Denmark is so super liberal, and if you don't pay your taxes, then you're fucked, I guess, because then you can close down your business. But it's very easy. So if we want to open a import company tomorrow, we can do so. Like it's easier to open an import company than a restaurant.
Okay. Good to hear.
Like alcohol is very black and white. It's just the alcohol tax itself that needs to be paid. And the rules for what's information that is in the bottle, strangely enough, is not that hard when it comes to alcohol beverages. So will be it's much harder to import soda waters or cheeses or hams or whatever products you need for normal consumption. So yeah.
Great.
You can start tomorrow.
Yeah, we do a wine business. You mentioned about flavors, and we discussed a bit about training the palate. What kind of new flavors do you see coming in, or what kind of the new hidden flavors you see more appealing for the customers?
I think like the like if you take the time machine back a couple of centuries, it was very clear that there was some like flavors that were like right now it's only passion or blah blah. I think those trends are coming as well. Like we had like the elderflower trend for a couple of years, and then we have like some other trends. We have like a strong lemon trend, like the current years, and but I feel a little bit with that there's a lot of flavors, and I think there's a lot of there's more like possibilities in flavors. I think there's a lot of like leaves that've been very interesting to like figs or pandangs and stuff like that. That I think that will come now strongly. You can see that like when we were in BCB last week. I think liqueurs in general. That I think there's more and more producers that start working more with liqueurs, not because it's super easy, so because it's not always super easy, but but liqueurs is as modifiers. I think modifiers as it is growing, especially in like top bars.
I was actually curious because I've seen a lot of. Obviously, the spirits are made out of grains.
Yeah.
Why there's not so much focus as well on the liqueurs made out of grains? Because I haven't seen them personally. You might have a lot more insights into it. But do you see any way of making a liqueur out of a wheat liqueur, Is it too strange? Is it?
Normally how the liqueur business works is that you have NDS, so natural grain spirit. It can come from whatever grain, doesn't matter because it's natural. So it's a vodka, and you in the when you steep it with the flavor compound, if that's a berry or whatever, botanical. And then added sugar. That's normally how the liqueur business is, and that's why it's quite easy, because you don't need to produce your own spirits. You don't have to produce whatever flavor you want to get it, and you don't have to produce the sugar. You can just buy all free ingredients and put it all together. But I think there's coming like a new wave of more interesting liqueurs from all around the world, from Denmark as well, which can use as modifiers into cocktails and create a lot of really interesting things. But as your question was, using a different kind of base spirit, yes, of course you can do that. But then you're also going to change like the structure and the flavors of the liqueur. And if you want it to taste only melon, if you're using very flavorful base spirits, then it's going to be not that much melon. It's going to be the base spirit, and then maybe it's not what you're looking for. And natural grain spirit is also very, very cheap.
Yeah,
it is so
true. How let's say maybe going a bit back to the community. How important do you see those brand activations? If a new brand wants to enter into a market, or it's already in that market but wants to create a bit more hype around the community, how important do you see these ones from a brand perspective?
It can be good, but it's also depends on what kind of product it is and when you're releasing it, and because sometimes I want to I'm taking a step back and looking like, what if I was the bartender that get invited to my event? I'm like, would I think this was interesting to just come and try this new fantastic brand that I never heard about, and maybe you can buy them lunch or dinner, and you can give them free drinks. But sometimes I think it's very, very important for a brand that want to do all this kind of activation if they think it's relevant or not. Because like, to convince you like a new consumer to be interested in your products, well, there are so many products, and so you really have to be unique. You need to have to stand out and do things. And of course, if you're making a product and you are a brand, you already think that you are unique. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. But I still think it's very, very hard. And I see all these events, and like some events we've been doing ourselves. That doesn't make any sense at all, because next day is going to be another one, and then it's going to be another one, and these industry people, they can't go to every event. That's a full-time job to go to all the tastings and all the events and all these takeovers and so on. So it's impossible. Everybody have a job on the side and maybe like a personal life as well. So I think especially nowadays, like we used to do so many events a couple of years ago, and we're doing less now. And the reason is that mainly that we think it become too much, and it's really important that everybody invests money in this. Like a brand will maybe fly over to Copenhagen. They will spend here a couple of days. They will stay at the hotel. They will eat out. They will have all the transportation. They will pay for all the activations, and in the end, will they get their investment back? Most of them wouldn't. Hopefully, most will have like investors and maybe big groups behind them that they can do so. But otherwise, it's very costful thing to do. But on the other end, like if they don't do it, maybe they're never going to enter the market. So it's like a double-edged sword. I think it's, but I think like small producers, they should think twice maybe, and if they think that investment is worth it.
So it's more as well because people are overflooded with such an events can be a negative way.
Well, to be honest, like the market is overflooded with brands, and all the brands can't be a part of the cocktail program or be on the back shelf or be on the menu. It's impossible. So and everybody's fighting on the same small cake and be one of those like the piece of the cake, and that will never happen. So I think it's and we meet all these people that have new brands and new ideas all the time, and now they're creating this, now they're creating that, but it's a tough market, and of course if there could be time and possibilities to get a position for them, but not always can be a part of the rail spirit or the back bar or the bartender's favorite drink when you come to the bar and we're gonna drink this together. Like to be there is a very, very long road.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I have 2 more questions. The way that we like to do it in here, it's one question. It's super similar to the previous guests, and one question is tailor-made for you. Which one do you want me to start with?
I'd rather take the ones that is made for all the guests.
The one that is made for all of the guests, it's what keeps you motivating staying in the hospitality industry? You said it's a tough industry, so...
No, but I think it's it's the flavors and the passion. Every day is it's different. And again, it's the same. Like it was the same thing. And when I was starting working full time when I was 16, it's like wake up in the morning. I didn't know what's going to happen, but I knew I'm going to meet with some fantastic people. I'm with the guests to the restaurants and with my colleagues, and we will share flavors and passion. And it's the same thing now. Like wake up every day. Like this is going to be great because I'm gonna meet someone. I'm gonna talk to someone. I will eat or drink something that is outstanding or interesting, and you will learn. That's it. Also like a thing. Always there's always things to learn, and that's I think with the drink industry it never ends. Like you can always take a new turn. You can find, a whiskey bottle that you've been drinking your entire life, but then you didn't know the real history behind it, or other things like if you have interests in everything from history to politics to production, there's always something behind every product or every plate or drink that comes out. Like it's endless. So. I think that the thing that get motivated. There's no end. There's no end of the book. The book will just continues with more passion and more flavors and more meetings and then the book will end, and that would be great.
Yeah, and the one tailor-made for you is it if you would have to give back an advice to somebody who is in the very beginning of the career or maybe trying to come to the hospitality career, based on your experience since you started at 9 years old, what would be that one advice would you like to give them?
Find a weak link.
Find a weak link.
Find a weak link and take it. Find your spot. Involve your spot. Somebody is maybe not that good at something. It could be, if you're finding that you have better balance than other ones, then run with the tray. You're better to talk with people. Let's then talk with people. If you're faster than somebody else, just find a spot where you're good and be good at it, and I feel like you're motivated and can be better. But always find a weak link where you can see where you can find your spot. Like that's always been working for me, and because then you need it, then people need you. Like otherwise, if you like everybody else, you're not really needed. They don't need to hire you. But if you can find something that you're good at, and you can learn more about, and take that one, and then find the next one, and climb up.
Absolutely, that's a great way of ending our conversation. And as well as we do with everybody, I just want to let you know that we would like to do this one more time, perhaps in a couple of months, 1 year, who knows, where we can touch base with you and
see if we change our mind.
See if we change the mind, and then come up with even more stories and advices for people. So thank you so much, Max.
Thank you.
And looking forward for the next time.
Thank you for having
Cheers,
me.
man.
Cheers.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of BARVOX, the podcast. This episode was produced by Mihai Paul and I, Manuel Lica, with thanks to Midnight Media Company. Please find us on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you are getting your podcasts. Be sure you subscribe and rate us. Thank you.